My name is Isaac Hidalgo. I will be presenting social spaces for people with disabilities from Parkland High School for my engineering design and development class. This would be the logo for a company that I'd want to develop, and this is May 28th. Next slide, thank you. Problem statement: American individuals with disabilities struggle with the ability to develop their social spaces, which are necessary for societal cultivation/growth. Now, one of the major causes of depression is reported to be disability by the World Health Organization. Next slide, thank you. Design statement: I will design, test, and create a physical disability accessible chessboard that works through each move relying on conversation, creating genuine social spaces for disabled individuals. Next slide, please. Constraints: the final product must be at least 12 by 12 inches. The material for the frame must be made in 3D printed material. The tools that allow, it must have tools that allow communication between both parties that are using the chessboard. Next slide, please. The criteria: accessible for those with physical disabilities, establish relative sense of belonging, provide the means to interact socially, does not have decreased health effects. It shouldn't feel like a disabled product. Next slide. My concept generation came from studying socially excluded groups. Now, I started connecting to disabled people because I found that in 2022, the CDC reported that 44.1 million Americans are disabled, and that percentage is 13.7%. In adults, it turned into 1 in 4, 28.7%. Now, coming to a conclusion, I realized that this was the majority group of societally excluded people. So I began to research solutions to this problem. I came across this contest that was called Samsung Solve for Tomorrow. And specifically, one challenge was a national winner of 2023 to 2024, which was Brandywine High School. Now, they developed something called Board Games for All. It was a variety of disability-inclusive board games. This caught my attention, and I decided I wanted to make something similar, however more suited for diverse ages. The game of chess was perfect as it has sophisticated and academic connotations. However, I wanted to take it a step further and introduce a more social element that further, socializing. Next slide, please. Validation 1, Our Vanishing Third Places by Ray Oldenburg, 1997. The sociologist Ray Oldenburg introduced an ideology of social spaces, which numerically categorized them. So there was the first one, which is a home or environment where you feel comfortable in, and that's where you sleep, recharge. And the second societal space is somewhere like work or education, where you go to advance yourself or advance something else. Now, the third social space is a more casual and interactive space. It can be anything from a basketball court to a library to a cafe even. So now there's a list of 10 benefits right here placed. They allow comfort and relief. They serve visitors and newcomers with accessible information about their whereabouts. They provide social sorting for people of interest. They bring youth and adults into association with one another. It unites the neighborhood. It fosters positive political debate or other crucial topics. It reduces the cost of living by creating mutual aid groups. Third places are entertaining. They give a sense of belonging, and they're important for retired people. The important observations of Ray Oldenburg is that America is in a large decline from these social spaces. Next slide, please. Validation 2, Depression and Loneliness in Disabled Adults by Özlem Kagan and Alaten Unsal, 2013. Next slide. The age with the most depression was 30 through 39, hypothetically through midlife stress. Stored et al., 2007, stated that the most influential factor in the prevalence of depression is the low education level. Low education level usually comes with low income, and by preventing social support, the frequency of depression could be increased. There is no correlation between Beck inventory and the UCLA scale used to measure the depression and loneliness, meaning that there is no correlation between depression and loneliness in the study. We can derive this information comes from because the study was taken in Turkey, a social, walkable, and wheelchair-accessible country. A reason for the lack of correlation could be due to having more options for disabled people. In America, we don't have those same options, which would mean that loneliness and depression can be more correlated together. America is not walkable, and it has no corporate and it has a huge corporate establishment overtake, and it leaves people with physical disabilities disadvantaged socially. Validation 3, Strategy and Sociability, The Mind, the Body, and Soul of Chess by Gary Allen Fine. Next slide, please. In Gary Allen Fine definition, chess games are structured as simulated experiences of responsive social interaction. It goes such as dancing, flirting, or negotiating a business deal. It involved psychiatrist Carl Menninger pointed out that chess involves a progressive interpenetration at the chessboard as players imagine the responses of their opponents, changing their minds and progressing as the game goes along, constantly predicting each other. This reveals almost dialogue and theatrical sort of element to playing the game of chess, and including a further element that increases this social factor can prove to a really interesting product that many people would like. Next slide, please. The full connections between my article validations. In our Vanishing Third Places by Ray Oldenburg, we signify that the importance of third places is clarified along with the mention of the decline of physical social spaces in America being statistically proven. The general reliance civilization holds to third social spaces proves a high theoretical consumer base. Sort of everyone needs a place to relax. In depression and loneliness in disabled adults, we see that low education and economic class affect depression most in adults with disabilities. A product available to all classes, has a studious background, has a social structure of a game already, and introduces an already large consumer group, made chess the most viable solution to appealing to all of these standards. Many solutions made to support disabled inclusion are reported to feel like disability-only inventions, and I believe this comes from how the solutions are developed. I believe the way to change the effect disabled products have on people is by creating a product designed for multiple consumer groups and integrating individuals with disabilities into these groups as a primary focus. Another vital statistic is that individuals with disabilities are an evidently large group of 44.1 million people, which resonates well with the 45 million chess players in the US already. In Strategy and Sociability of Chess, we discovered that adding a dialogue feature to the well-known game introduces an inviting and interesting factor to the product that will bring in popularity for the notable difference it has from other products. It also furthered the certainty of establishing social third spaces within the game by relying on conversational fun and the general input from the player. Next slide, please. These are the model drawings. These were developed on AutoCAD Inventor. And next slide, please. Previous slide, my bad. So originally, it was supposed to be all one big piece together, all stitched together. However, the 3D printer developed a constraint, which was that it needed a specific amount of size. So I had to split it into fourths, and I created this division in between all of them, and there's this specific joint function that comes in between all of them. Sort of, I would not need any adhesive, and it would just sort of fuse together, which led to this. Next slide, please. Thank you. This was developed with the Stratasys Dimension SST 1200 ES 3D print remover, which was used to get rid of the excess 3D print material. This was a 3D printer developed to design the product. Stratasys Fortis 450MC and 380MC production 3D printer. Next slide, please. This is the corner top view full scale of the whole thing, and these are the individual pieces. Next slide, please. This is the top view full frame spray painted black with glass acrylic placed glass on top of it. This is what the top view looks like. The main reason why this was done was to sort of keep the focus on the lights and while not decreasing the reflective values of the whites. This is the top corner view, and this is the side view. As you can see, it provides a sleek and modern aesthetic to it. Next slide, please. This was the wiring. It was done with Arduino Uno LED lights. This is the 8x16. Sort of, I had to daisy chain these, which means I had to combine the wire with the light input at the same place. Now this was done in 8s. This is what it looks like all bound together. This is what it looks like all plugged in. This was used to run the circuitry to light the lights in general. It needed the specific amount of resistors, and it needed a ground input. Next slide, please. These were the final results. I developed the sleek modern aesthetic with the new wiring. As you can see, this is what the bottom of the wire looks like if it was flipped over. A big reason why the frame has this empty space at the bottom was to let the wires run free. If a full prototype was developed, I would like to have smaller wires and easier adhesive to apply the lights. Now, this is what the top view looked like compared to a game of chess. Sort of each piece would be a light. There would be a speaker, which would allow you to almost resonate it with Alexa, almost like Alexa does, I mean. Sort of, what is B4? Night, B4, and so on. Now, this is what the top view looks like from an angle, and this is what the blink lights look on. Next slide, please. Conclusion and reflection. If circumstances were different, I would have continued the making of a prototype. I've found a lot of good things and qualities about this product. I want to attain a patent for this and invest into it through a third-party investor with the trade of holding shares for the product and investing into further resources, engineers, and an advertising campaign. I believe this product can perform well in the market due to how many consumer groups it appeals to, and the main usage of it overall contributes to solving the problem of physically disabled people not having the best chances of going to third social spaces. It was worthwhile to do something similar in the future. I would recommend it was a worthwhile investment of my time and opens up possibilities for further use. If someone were to do something like this in the future, I would recommend a group of 3. One, to specifically do research, validate everything while keeping all the graphs and time charts in check. Another to work on 3D models, and when they're done, to set up the slides and docs. The last person can help with everything until they need to do the wiring or actual coding or any sort of development. Next slide, please.